Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osman. In this week's episode, we cut ribbons at both a new trail segment and water reclamation facility. Shorebirds are nesting and the City Island Library is almost ready for visitors. Later in the program, Joanne Magley talks with Jay Cassens from Volusia County's hometown airport. Those segments and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. The Volusia County Council recently joined with Glenwood residents to celebrate the opening of the newest section of the Spring to Spring Trail in Volusia County. The 1.7-mile segment runs from Lemon Street to King Street. It includes a 5-foot wide bike lane and a sidewalk for pedestrians.
Good morning. Another beautiful Chamber of Commerce Volusia County Day here for us, where we continue literally to blaze new trails. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the official opening of the Glenwood section of the Spring to Spring Trail. Is this great or what? After all this time, here we are. As many of you know, Volusia County government is proactively and has been proactively building trails across our great county. And our premier trails are the Spring to Spring Trail in West Volusia and the East Central Regional Rail Trail in Southern Volusia. They're part of our larger St. John's River to Sea Loop, which one day will connect 5 counties. Together, they are connecting communities and providing recreational opportunities for residents and visitors alike.
Volusia County's Trails program has truly been a team effort led by the Volusia County Council with staff assistance from the Construction, Engineering, and Parks divisions. The $1.9 million cost for the newest segment was covered by local option gas tax funds and the $1.5 million in ECHO funds.
Which, ECHO is a voter-approved tax in Volusia County. When I was in the state legislature, I would tell legislators of Volusia County, when they heard about what we did with ECHO, they were absolutely amazed. And I said, this is because Volusia County is a caring county, and people wanted to see good things happening, and look at all the great things that have happened with the ECHO money.
Also on scene were Wilma Allen, who runs the Glenwood Post Office, and Pat Northey. Northey is a former county council member who has earned the title Queen of Trails. They joined Deborah Denny's and Pat Patterson in cutting the ribbon. The new trail segment will be a valued recreational asset for Glenwood and Volusia County for generations to come. Along the trail, you will find places to live, places of business, and recreation and entertainment options. When you get a chance, check out the growing trail system in Volusia County. There's even a Volusia County Trails app, which allows users interactive access to the county's showcase trails, nature trails, equestrian trails, mountain bike trails, and blueways. The free app is available on iTunes and Google Play. After nearly 8 months of repairs and renovations, the Daytona Beach Regional Library at City Island is scheduled to reopen on Saturday, May 5th at 10 a.m. The Volusia County Council and Daytona Beach city officials invite the public to celebrate the reopening of the popular downtown library and the opening of the adjacent Rachel Robinson Play Yard. The Family Fun event offers residents a chance to see the renovated library and children's activities in the play yard.
I think when patrons come into the library, they're going to think they've entered a new library. Big thing they're going to find is we just have one public service desk in our adult section now. And so it's sort of a one-stop shop. And so you won't get sent from one desk to another. Everyone will be using the one service desk. The children's area of the library was probably our most damaged. We lost all of our furniture, almost all of the shelving. So that whole area is going to look pretty much brand new. But in addition to that, we can't even, I can't even put into words how excited we are about the new Rachel Robinson Play Yard, which is an extension of our children's area.
The play yard was made possible by a partnership between the county and the city. It's been named after Rachel Robinson, who was married to baseball legend Jackie Robinson. While honoring his memory, Mrs. Robinson made her own way as a nurse, professor, and civil rights activist. The Rachel Robinson Play Yard includes playground equipment and 2 pavilions. Children and their parents or caregivers will be able to access the playground through the library during regular library hours. The library has been closed since September 11th when Hurricane Irma flooded the building, causing extensive damage. On Sunday, May 6th, the library will resume normal operating hours, which are from 1 to 5 p.m. Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Today on Solutions for Your Life, Sharon Gamble, UF-IFAS Extension Agent in Volusia County, shows us winter forage crops for livestock and wildlife.
Hi, I'm Sharon Gamble with Solutions for Your Life, and today we're here at the Yarborough Ranch in Geneva, Florida. And you might wonder why we're down in Geneva, Florida instead of up in Volusia County. Well, this is an area-wide project that the Central Florida Livestock Agents Group is involved in. And the agents in this particular group, several of us came together. We have these plots. It's a part of a joint project across the state. There's a number of these plots planted all around Florida. And we use these for a variety of reasons. One, it's an on-farm demonstration site. And we look at different forage varieties and wildlife food varieties so that we can determine how well they grow in different areas in Florida on different soil types. And then we're able to ramp that up to use by other ranchers and farmers in the state. We have 67 plots planted. Several of us got together. Jay Cassens, who you'll meet in a moment, prepared the ground for us, and we all came and hand planted this and then put a controlled amount of fertilizer onto each plot so we can kind of control our variables a little bit and just kind of rate what of these plots are going to do or perform better for us than others. The individual plots, there's 67 of them, and they measure 12 feet by 30 feet, and that's a sufficient size to look at them. And if you'll notice on the property, it slopes off, so the ground that's on the far edge is a wetter piece of ground than what we have up here, so we're able to look at different moisture regimes on what we've planted here. We've got a variety of things planted. We have rye grass, we have oats, we have triticale, we have wheat, we have rape. We also have some radishes and different blends, and then we have our legumes, which legumes fix nitrogen from the air and on the root system, and they require typically more moisture, and that's why we have those planted on the backside. But they are slower to grow, so you probably won't see much there if we go over and look at those. When you grow winter annuals, and that's what we call these, you are always trying to blend moisture content with weather conditions. And when I say a winter annual, we plant it annually. It comes up, and as soon as the weather gets warm, it starts to go out of the production system. This can be very important to the farmers and or the ranchers for a variety of reasons. First of all, ranching is a very complex business, and there's a lot of competing things for your time when you're ranching. You're putting out hay, you're putting out liquid molasses to feed your cattle in the wintertime. When we can grow winter annuals, that's a very high quality feed, and your animals typically perform very well on it. Typically is not an inexpensive way to feed your animals. If you've got some specialty things you're doing, raising calves, getting your cows to milk heavier, having these winter annuals can be a valuable part of your feed program. The other thing we've got here is we have some wildlife species plants here. And you know, when you ranch, part of your ranch is your wildlife, and we try to take care of our wildlife as well. So when we put these plots, and we're actually looking at them from a variety of different standpoints. J.K. Yarborough is one of the lead people on this project, and he is here with us today to tell us a little bit more about the plots. And I'm noticing a difference in amount of forage cover from these plots on the left to the center.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think this is accounting for some of the differences in the field and the moisture content?
It's definitely a factor. Actually, we had this side, we had the sod removed from it, so there was no other thatch or any other plant material there to hold any of the moisture. Whereas this side, it had, as you can see, plenty of other old material there.
And what do we have here now? Because this is a very different leaf. This is a broadleaf as opposed to the grass species.
Yes, ma'am, that's right. What we have here are different varieties of radishes, actually, that we're growing for our wildlife mix plots. You know, the white-tailed deer, are very fond of the radishes, but we also have some of the birds, such as turkey or sandhill whooping cranes that come along and might nibble on it some, but also look for a lot for the insects and bugs that live in the ground as well.
This coming summer, we'll have the data synthesized together from all the plots around the state, and that way we can make some recommendations to our farmers and ranchers, because planting season will start anywhere from October to December in the coming year. I'm Sharon Gamble with Solutions for Your Life.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
After almost 2 years of construction, officials celebrated the completion of upgrades to the Southwest Regional Water Reclamation Facility. The $12.7 million project, made possible through a partnership with Volusia County, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and the St. Johns River Water Management District, includes upgrades to the treatment process and technology at the facility, which enables additional removal of nitrogen and phosphorus from effluent water used for reclaimed supply and recharge.
The phosphorus needs to be removed and the nitrate needs to be removed so the receiving waters do not have algae blooms and so forth. On the new plant, we have added some structures, and it is naturally removed by the microorganisms throughout the plant as it goes through the processes that allow us to remove phosphorus and remove the nitrate to less than 3.
The project redirects wastewater from the decommissioned Four Towns treatment plant to the county's Southwest Regional Water Reclamation Facility, which will improve the level of wastewater treatment and produce 220,000 gallons of reclaimed water each day. The improved wastewater treatment will result in an estimated reduction of 27,000 pounds of nitrogen and 14,000 pounds of phosphorus per year in the Blue Springs spring shed. It's nesting season for Florida's water birds, and beachgoers and boaters are reminded to give shore and water birds young their space to help keep them safe. Shorebirds and seabirds build shallow nests out of sand and shells on beaches in spring and summer, and eggs and chicks are difficult to see. Wading birds such as herons and egrets, as well as pelicans, are also nesting now on islands. Both types of birds can be easily disturbed if people approach too closely. Jennifer Winters, Volusia County's Habitat Conservation Plan Manager, says such disturbances can be detrimental to the nests.
Important shorebird and seabird nesting season, and so there's a lot of things that people need to know as far as when they're out recreating using the beaches and some of the inland waterways, just to look out for birds, because some of these birds actually will lay their eggs directly on the sand. They'll just build a small little scrape in the sand and lay eggs there, and they'll sit on those eggs and incubate them on the ground. And so somebody just walking by could inadvertently, step on those eggs or scare the adult away from the eggs. So when we know of nest locations, we post them. We try to, notify people in the area that the nests are there and to try to avoid them.
In addition to observing the marked off areas, people can also help by reporting injured birds or nesting sites by calling the Beach Safety Division at 386-239-6414. County staff can rescue injured birds or post warning signs around the bird nesting sites on the beach. Keeping cats inside or with a bell on the collar. Keeping dogs in designated areas and on their leashes. Dogs can destroy nest areas and deter birds from nesting on our beaches. Beachgoers shouldn't feed wild birds. Human food is not as nutritious as a natural diet. Also, birds can become aggressive and injure humans while being fed. If you see an adult bird vocalizing loudly or faking a broken wing, you may be too close to their nest. back away slowly and carefully. Constant disturbance of parent birds protecting their young can cause them to abandon their nests or chicks. If you notice other people conducting activities that may be harmful to birds, kindly remind them of the dangers of their actions. Most people don't realize they may be harming wildlife and will change their behaviors once they're educated. The Volusia County staff is a proud affiliate of the Volusia Shorebird Partnership, a countywide alliance of interested groups, organizations, and individuals committed to advancing shorebird and seabird stewardship in Volusia County. For more information, you can visit flshorebirdalliance.org. Let's join Community Information Director Joanne Magley in the studio with her guest, Jay Cassens, Director of Business Development at the Daytona Beach International Airport.
Thanks, Amber. Well, passenger traffic at Daytona Beach International Airport is strong so far this year. So joining us in the studio today is Jay Cassens. He's the Business Development Director at Daytona Beach International Airport. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Joanne.
Thanks for being here. So let's talk about passenger numbers this year. How did we do in January, February, and March?
Well, January we were relatively flat, and that was mostly because we had over 20 cancellations because of weather in the Northeast. So if we wouldn't have had those cancellations, we would have been way up for the month. And then in February, we were up almost 2.5%. And then in March, we were up over 4%. So it was a really great start for the year. Again, if we wouldn't have had those cancellations in January, we'd been way up in January.
So what do you attribute the jump in February and March, and what potentially could have been an increase in traffic in January if we didn't have that weather? What's causing us to have those traffic increases?
Well, it's really because both American and Delta Airlines have increased capacity and increased flights over the last year. And that is really a result of 2017 and how well they did there. So they responded and added capacity in 2018. So I think looking at the numbers in March, it's the highest load factors of the year. And JetBlue in particular it was their best month since they've been operating out of Daytona Beach. So I really expect next year for that capacity trend to continue to grow and grow. We're also looking at April, same thing. And even into the summer, I see the capacity and the flights continuing to increase over last year, which is really great to see since we're at a 21-year high right now. And we're up almost 70% since 2009. And right now, over last year, we're up, I think, about 2.5%.
So you mentioned load factors. What is the percentage that the airport is used to seeing compared to load factors in other parts of the state?
Well, really nationwide, it's really between 85 and 86% is the national average, and we're usually well above that. Now, of course, it's not all about how full the flight is. You can have a flight that's 100% full but still lose money on it. It's all about what are the airfares that you're getting for to fill those seats on the aircraft. It's not just all about the load factor. It's about the costs. It's about the revenue. It's all of that combined, really, that makes an airline successful or not.
So we like to remind people that flying in and out of Daytona Beach is fast, friendly, and stress-free. You know, you park, your parking is very close to walking into the airport, just a few minutes, and then of course the wait in security is, you know, hardly a wait compared to other airports. We have 3 airlines, Delta, American, and JetBlue, and you mentioned that JetBlue, you know, has had their best month since they've been here. They just recently had their 2-year anniversary, so they're feeling pretty good with their decision so far of being here in Daytona.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely meeting the expectations. You know, we'd still like to see some of the months, the slower months, like the fall, heading into the beginning of the winter. We'd like to see those months get better and increase over last year. But the spring and the end of the winter really is where they do really, really well. We want to see that trend continue throughout the rest of the year to make it really successful, because it's not just all about a couple months. While our peak months, you know, are usually February, March, April, May, you know, they look at the whole year. So we really like to see those load factors continue 90% and above. Now the industry average, like I said, is 85%. We want to continue to see JetBlue somewhere around 90%. So it's really important that the traveling public continues to utilize the service, and look before you book, because I can tell you the airfares on JetBlue to JFK are the same as the larger airports that are surrounding us, if not less. And the same goes for American and Delta. If you book ahead of time, there's, in the larger markets, there's more seats. So the prices are gonna stay lower for a long period of time, but they start out the same as Daytona. It's just, there's not as much capacity here in Daytona, so it's a smaller market.
Right, so when you know you're going to travel, just like you said, ahead of time, doing a little extra planning, and not only are you getting competitive rates, but you're saving time by not having to travel to a further airport, saving money for the gas that it would take to get you to that further airport, and reducing your stress level.
Look at the amount of money you spend in parking, the amount of time you spend at the airport, getting to the airport, the tolls, the stress factor. Consider it all in when you're making your decision for airfares.
So I know you get a lot of people that tell you when you're talking to other airlines, because you're always talking to other airlines, you're always talking to our existing airlines about possible new flights or new destinations, and there's a lot that goes into an airline's decision on what's best for them as a business model. So what are some of the things that the airlines take into consideration?
Well, the airlines are going to look at, where our passengers right now are going beyond Atlanta, Charlotte, and JFK. And, right now, some of our top markets beyond those destinations are going to be Detroit, Boston, Washington, D.C., Chicago. So they're going to look at that. They're also going to look at, how much revenue can they generate from those passengers? How much market share can they take from the other flights? And they also look at the community and how the community is growing and what the community has to offer. I think with all the developments that we have going on between the Hard Rock and the Margaritaville, those things all bode well because it shows there's energized investment and interest in the community. And so when these businesses want to invest in a community, so do airlines. So they really look at that, just like in Orlando. A simplified example is, look at the way that Universal and Disney have grown over the years. So is air service there in Orlando.
Right. And so, you're, like you had mentioned before, we need the community to use our existing airlines. You said a figure once that 40% of the county people that travel in Volusia County, or the residents in Volusia County that use air travel, 40% of them actually go to an outside airport. So we're trying to, we're constantly trying to get the message out of, use Daytona Beach International Airport and the reasons why it's better, fast, friendly, stress-free, of course. And the more you use it, the better your chances of getting those additional flights.
Yeah, I mean, on a smaller scale, you just look at last year in 2017, we had a great year. The airlines, what did they do? They responded by adding capacity and more flights. So you keep doing that every year. You keep adding to, you keep adding to the load factors by having the community fill the seats and not go to other airports. It's going to add to more air service. Yes, it may be slow over time, but it will happen. You look at, like, our air traffic's up almost 70%, like I said before. That's really because it's the community's responding to the product that we offer. So we're losing about 40% to surrounding airports. We want to continue to reduce that so it makes it more attractive for more airlines to come in, because if an airline is serving you in another city, why would they want to expend more resources and serve you here?
Right.
Because it's not cheap to open up a new shop in Daytona Beach when they're just down the road. So there has to be enough reason for them and enough people wanting their service here in this community, and it has to be a proven case. So they don't want to, they're not going to come here when you're already you don't have any problem driving down the road
Right.
to get their service.
Right. So, you know, in addition to the fast, friendly, stress-free that we try to promote and the compatibility of the prices, you also have just a hometown feel to the airport, like with the Mailbag Program, which I don't know what other airport does that. Certainly probably not a larger airport, where when you go through TSA, if you forget that you have your heirloom pocket knife, you know, with you, what happens to that for passengers at Daytona Beach International Airport?
I think it's such a unique feature about our airport. Having the Mailbag Program takes our customer service to a whole nother level, because it's something that's unexpected. And we get, almost on a weekly basis, we get letters from people that say thank you for doing that. You know, this was my grandfather's knife. I forgot it in my luggage that I was trying to carry on. And the TSA has been nice enough to help us out with that program, put it in an envelope, and then we mail it back to the customers. Not only do we mail it back, but we send a little gift and a personalized letter from our airport director. So it's things like that that really make our airport different than other airports, where we will go above and beyond. We sell something different, and that is the convenience, the stress-free factor, the friendliness that you're not going to get at other places, because we're an airport on a human scale. That's what I like to say. That's what we like to say. And you're just not going to find an experience more friendly than what we have to offer. And we all know that, and we work great as a team to make that a reality every single day.
So how can people find out more about the airport or the different flights that you offer? What's the best way for people to keep up to date?
They can find out more information. They can follow us on Facebook, and they can also go to flydab.com. It's going to have all the latest information about flights, current happenings at the airport, current events that we're holding, that we're hosting. Everything's always available on both Facebook and our website.
All right, Jay Cassens, Business Development Director at Daytona Beach International Airport. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Joanne.
Amber, back to you.
Thanks, Joanne, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.